Now, I'm gonna do a special video today. Just recently recorded some other ones that I will be uploading very soon. This video right now is a very special one that I really wanted to talk about for a long time, but I just never had the chance to. As most people know, Disney is pretty much in the route of just making remakes and live action adaptations of their famous movies from the past, like Aladdin, was it Lion King, Snow White, I think it was, Cinderella. I think Sleeping Beauty had one, but I cannot remember. And a few others. And for the most part, I think some of them flopped. I am not 100% sure, but I know some of them didn't make that much money from the box office and everything. And for me, I'm pretty much not on board with any of the Disney movies, either the remakes or the adaptations from other stuff, because like so many people I know are pretty much tired of Disney and just rehashing the same boring stuff from the past instead of trying to make new things, but which they cannot do because they do not have that drive nor that will to make anything new, because they're pretty much void of any talent. Disney, for the most part, they go out, they like EA, they go out, they buy more talented studios. So far they only bought Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Marvel, so those kind of fortunate there. But they buy talent and have them make stuff. They don't try to make the stuff. So it's like you're not actually doing anything. All you're doing is buying other people's studios, then you're just giving them money to make something that was already there. Then you want to slap your name on it like you did something about it, which I'm pretty sure really isn't credible to do. It just shows how void of talent or anything you can think of. And it's kind of sad too, because Disney used to be one of the best companies when it came to doing animation before Pixar came in, doing great storytelling before other people started coming in social media, all these smaller content creators. It's just like, what's Disney good for it? Because now their theme parks don't pretty much sell anymore, because you gotta either choose between a theme park, which is stupid, and you gotta choose between your vacation time and money that goes towards Christmas, because they want to nickel and dime you for everything you have, and then they have these outlandish rules that you have to follow. And it's like, you know what, I'd rather save the money that I have, instead of going to your theme parks and go to Cedar Falls, Kings Island, places like that in Ohio and somewhere in up Michigan and Illinois and stuff like that, because it's not worth going to Disney anymore. It used to be in the past where you was younger and you want, I guess your parents want you to have that experience because it's Disney and blah blah blah. But looking at it now as an adult, even if I was a big Disney fan, which I'm not, I'd be like, nah, I'm not gonna take my kids to there, because that's way too much money. We can create our own adventure at home. So it's like, what's the point of going there if that stuff's gonna happen? Two, the remakes aren't really that special. All it is them just going through the same well they've been pulling stuff out of, dusting off the same crap that they've been finding, and then saying, hey, let's make a movie about this. And most of these stories that Disney make are pretty much old folktale stories, or based on true stories, which, if anybody knows anything like that, most of the times those are loosely based. They're not fully based on true story. Like Mulan, I think the way she died is she didn't want to marry some dude because they want her as a sex slave, so she killed herself. You're not gonna see that in a Disney movie because, of course, it has to cater to the kids, and as well, you have to make a sequel about it because Lord knows you gotta have a sequel for everything nowadays, which kind of destroyed the purpose of having a classic movie because you gotta constantly make sequels. It cheapens the product and it cheapens the character, and it also tells you that whoever owns these properties have no creative original concepts in their head, unless they feel like buying out other people. But I wouldn't go that route, man. For real, it's kind of stupid. The reason why the reason why I hate the remakes and stuff is because you can tell what's going to happen in this movie, like you can and say the WWE and their BS, where you know John Cena's going to do a certain move, or this person's going to do this or that. It's like it's not even worth it anymore. So me, I'm pretty much one of those people. I just sit back and I just watch everybody else, and once the reviews start coming in, I'd be sitting back, burn a piece of like a $1 bill, smoke a cigarette, and say, "I told you so." But luckily, I do not smoke, so that analogy kind of worked a little bit. Kind of not. Anyways, I'm not for Disney movies anymore, pretty much, because it's the same BS that I can find anywhere else with pretty much a better storytelling cast board. Because Disney, their formula is the same, as I said, but if you look at independent creators, you can see that if they make something based on the same story that Disney used for their movies, it'd be a lot grittier or more based to true to the story, to the source material, instead of switching around and stuff like that, because it's kind of stupid to do that, especially when you got adults watching some of these movies and they can easily be like, "Hey, you like that movie?" No, it seemed kind of weird. Okay, then let's look up the real source material, a better adaptation of a book or a movie or urban legend, and here you go. Whereas Disney want to do the family friendly thing, which is cool and all, but at the same time, you're doing the same formula, the same beats that you do in every other movie, and after a while, it gets kind of boring. That's why they bought Marvel, because they wanted to get in that kind of craze, and right now Marvel Studios is worth billions, but their comics ain't worth anything, because if you read anything in the Marvel comics, you will know that their comics are not worth anything but used as waste paper, if you know what I mean. And even then, that's the insult to waste papers, because none of the comics really sell actually after Marvel sold to Disney. They really don't sell much. Let's see. I know the Marvel comics, they sometimes have shady antics, shady behavior. Like they will pay or get like free covers to comic book stores to rip up DC comic books, first issue covers, so they can get the Marvel covers, and most of the times they're not even good covers. They're just the same rehash of stuff. So anybody that rely on that kind of tactic, I'm not for them, because one, it shows you're desperate. Two, Marvel is only good in the movies. For me, TV, cartoon stuff, comics, DC is still better now. I'm not a fanboy of both companies, but I do see that DC has a better advantage at everything else except movies, which if they allow DC to actually police themselves, it would be a lot easier, instead of having Warner Brothers constantly mess up. And that's no fault of DC's fault, because that's always management's fault. Like Suicide Squad, Batman versus Superman, Justice League, they always gotta have these director's cut because the studio like to get involved. So if those studios weren't involved in not messing up everything, I'm pretty sure you will see the only cut, the original cut. And I think the only few movies that I believe is worth seeing the extended cut, I think it's called, is the Lord of the Rings series, which I think was like 6 total hours. So it's like 3 extra hours, I think. 2, maybe 3 extra hours. There was another movie, Suicide Squad. They named that one. It'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, Watchmen. Watchmen is the other one. I think that was like 6 hours as well. A few extra cuts, which if you haven't seen The Watchmen, I highly suggest you do, because that is, I think, one of the best adaptations of a comic book movie ever. I'm not sure if it's based on, it's based on one of the comics, the Freighter. But other than that, I think that's one of the best comic book movies out there. Sad it's only a cult classic, but at the same time, I'd rather have that cult classic where it's not always talked about than have something that's pretty much boring after a while. Like for me, I'm not an Avengers type of person, because I used to watch the Avengers, the cartoon version. Then when a lot of action, when the live movie came out, I was like, I'd rather not watch it. It's too bland. After what they did to Thor and Thor Ragnarok, where that's supposed to be the end of Thor people and his time, they made it to a comedy, which, I'm sorry, if you're gonna do something that's very steeped in history and tradition and part of the Viking lore, you do not make their lore into a comedy and expect people to actually care. Like me, now the critics, they're difficult. They want everything to be pleasing to them, and honestly, I'm not for that. If you're gonna make something like Ragnarok or anything that's like based in myth and stuff, do it by the source. Do not add comedy because you want to put some extra butts in the seats. Otherwise, you just cheapen the history, and you don't want to cheapen somebody else's history, because if they get a hold of your history, they can change it, then you have no say about it. But it is what it is. I know there's gonna be more live action adaptations from their history. I know Lady Tramp is one. Wonder and One Dalmatian, that came out with 2, but that was pretty unique at the time because it was only 2 of those movies, and I was young, so that's the only time I saw it. But anything else, I'm not for it because it's pointless. Now they're pandering to SJWs, people who want to be woke and all that stuff, and I'm not for it. Me, I just want to have a good time. Sometimes I want mindless action. Sometimes I want something with a little heart to it. If I want something that's pretty pointless and just blood and guts glory, I got Hitman 47, Agent 47. I have plenty of anime for that stuff. And Judge Dredd 2012. I know it's Dredd 2012, but I like to put the Judge in there. If I want something with a little bit more emotion, I'll have the Equalizer series, and I have the John Wick series. Those 2 series Disney can never ever get their hands on, because those are greatly beloved, and you cannot just go ahead and change the history to it. Because while the John Wick series is original series, the Equalizer is based on I think a 1970s TV show. So Disney can't just go and say, oh, this is the original series, blah 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 blah, and people can say, oh no, this used to be in the 70s. But they just, I guess, changed it a little bit to put Denzel Washington as the lead, which I'm kind of fine with him being the lead, because I don't think anybody else would have picked up the project if it was offered to them. But yeah, I'm not for the stuff that's going on at Disney. that's also like affecting it, because Disney has, from what I feel, like a cancerous cloud over them, and they're the type of companies that do kind of shady stuff just to get what they want. And at the end of the day, if you don't fall in line with them, then you're not a Disney person, all that stuff, and they try to destroy you. But I'm fine with the old stuff. The new stuff, nah, because the new stuff is too watered down and gotta cater to all these groups and stuff instead of just making a movie. Now you gotta make it a political statement, a gender statement. It's like, just make a movie without all that stuff. But Disney can't do that anymore because reasons, and because they want to push their stupid agenda on people who really don't care for the agenda, and just not interesting. To deviate a little bit, I was listening to actually a movie review podcast who was talking about DC's, I guess, most unknown comic series, which was like a mini series called The Kitchen. And the host on there was kept bringing up Me Too and all this stuff, Time's Up. It's like, nobody cares. Just cover the subject, the plot, and stop bringing up Me Too, Time's Up, and all that BS. Nobody cares. I mean, you have to be. I know it's hard for some podcasts and some online personalities, content creators. They got to stay in the middle lane. They can't talk about politics, but they also got to cater to the same people. But at the same time, don't bring up Me Too and all that stuff. Not everybody cares about that. And for me, I don't actually believe in Me Too and all that stuff. I believe in individual handling their own business. And if that thing is created just to demonize everybody, even if it's just a simple joke, I ain't for it. So it is what it is. You might not like what I have to say, but I'm fine with that. Everybody got their own thoughts. I'm not gonna hate you for yours, but yeah, this video is done. I'm gonna be working on my other videos pretty soon, and I'm gonna be coming back hopefully next week or sometime soon. So enjoy the video. God bless, and just remember, stay out of the blast radius.